Good evening and a very warm welcome to the first episode on Climate Wisdom from Dubai, a podcast series hosted by Raj Yoga Center. The aim of this program is to connect you to people that care about Mother Earth and for them to share their journey with us to further inspire us towards climate action. Our topic for today is aha moments in nature, how creative ideas come to life. We have two incredibly creative youth leading us into this direction. My name is Deepti Serai, and it's my pleasure to welcome our guests for today. First, Sainath Manikandan, who is an aspiring environmentalist and an active member of the Emirates Environmental Group, an ambassador of Gombuk, Drop It Youth, Plastic Pollution Coalition, Plastic Soap Foundation, Emirates Agency 50 Years, 50 Ambassadors, Masdar Youth for Sustainability, UNEP, Tunza, Eco Generation, Students for Earth, My Future, My Voice Ambassador, and UAE Refill Champion, among many others. So we had virtually connected with Sainath at Elkoi UAE 2020, and he came in as the youngest change enabler. So today it's a great opportunity to meet you again on this very special occasion, our very first podcast. So a very warm welcome to you, Sainath.
Thank you. Looking forward to this likewise.
Thank you. So our second guest for today is Ankita Manjunath, who is an interior architect, a dedicated member of the Raj Yoga Center in Dubai, where she has practiced meditation for 6 years. With a strong commitment to environment initiatives and youth engagement, she is one of the key members in organizing and hosting the local Conference of Youth 2020. She has also participated as a delegate for POI 17 and is now an active part of the delegation leading up to POI 18. In addition, she is part of the Arts, Culture, and Heritage Younger Working Group. In Elkoi UAE 2020, you've been invisibly involved in so many areas in the back end. And it's lovely to have you this time come forward and share how your journey has been so far.
Thank you so much, Deepti. Looking forward to the conversation.
So we have questions for both of you to answer individually. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So you are a 16-year-old student and you've been making phenomenal efforts towards protecting the environment. How did your love for the environment develop?
So it was back when I was actually in grade 4. So that's when I'd first taken the initiative to join an organization called Drop It Youth. So Drop It Youth is basically an organization run by Gombuk for youth, wherein they teach the adverse effects of single-use plastic pollution. At the same time, like let us know how we can take steps to raise awareness on how to combat single-use plastic pollution as well. When I first joined, they'd shown us a short film called Plastic Ocean, wherein we'd seen a lot of marine species die due to the intake of single-use plastic or plastic waste that has been dumped into the oceans, and it was really heartwarming and sad to look at how marine species are dying because of the actions that are done by us humans. So that's when I started my first step as an environmentalist, wherein I tried the various ways to raise awareness both in my community, school, to my peers, to people who studied along with me in my class, etc., to learn more about single-use plastic pollution and how small steps that we take in our daily life can help make a bigger change in the future.
It's actually brilliant for you to start so young. If I go back to thinking, if when I was that young, I probably didn't know direction as well as you do now. So I feel that's a great step for you to take and something for us to be inspired as well. Moving now to Ankita, I would like to know, you are an interior architect and you've been actively engaging in environment initiatives. How did your the environment develop?
So my love for the environment developed early, but it wasn't as scientific. It was more just the feeling that I used to get, being at the beach or in parks or anything really nature related. But when I went for my undergraduate for bachelor's in architecture to India, that is when I witnessed a massive level of poverty. And I think that is where I was exposed to many different techniques, many different levels of sustainability, at a larger level, at a smaller level, at a societal level. So I think, like us human beings, buildings also have an energy that is exposed to carbon emissions. So learning the ability to actually transform buildings or interior, design in terms of sustainability, that is something that really developed further. I would say I was a late blossomer really. So yeah.
But that's brilliant, just to be able to take initiative and recognize that there is a need to do a little more, and where you can be a part and contribute towards some efforts that we can make towards, the environment becoming better. So now I'd like to move again to Sainath, and this is my question to you. You've achieved a new benchmark, and you've set an example for what and how youth can be seen as change makers in climate solutions. And with your innovations, especially if we talk about the marine robot cleaner, the Agribot, the Aerobot, the MAHLI Astrobot, and the Aeroboard, we would love to learn what is your inspiration behind the marine robot cleaner? You spoke about how you getting involved with Lombok had the starting point. What led for you to discover that you could actually create and invent something like that?
So it was again like after I'd started as an environmentalist, I was also keen into robotics, coding, and innovating something was something that I was passionate about. So that's when I'd started going to robotics class. So that's when it clicked how we can include AI or something such as machines that we humans build to help save the environment. So the first ever robot that I made in my home was the marine robot cleaner. So it was a prototype robot that I'd made with almost like waste materials that were lying around in my house. So I'd use like waste plastic water bottles to help the robot float. I'd used fencing that we had used for building a bridge back for my school project as like to build a basket, and then glass sheets to protect the circuits from getting damaged from water. I connected pencils and popsicle sticks to a wheel to act as paddles for the robot to move around. If you don't mind, I'll just share my screen so that you can get an understanding of how the robot looks. So as you can see, the robot is made with all recyclable materials. There's the popsicle sticks attached to pencils, water bottles to help float, and then the robotic circuit itself are basic robotics that I learned back then.
Wow, that's beautiful. And how old were you at that time when you created this robot cleaner?
So I was in grade 4, so I think around 7 years back, so
That's
9 years
amazing.
old.
Quite unheard of for somebody that young to be able to know their direction in life and know their purpose. It's brilliant. And that's why I see you not just as an aspiring environmentalist, I see you as a scientist. Yeah. And that you have a role to play in the future for doing much more for the environment and actually creating a different future for all of us. So
Thank
that's
you.
brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to move to Ankita again. Since you've been you've been a part of the working group of LCOI UAE 2020, and you've been a delegate for COI 17 and also now leading up to COI 18. So what inspires your strong commitment towards environment initiatives?
So again, it's multifold because I would like to go back to, when I was an undergraduate in India. And really, when I witnessed the level of poverty, the level of waste all over that I saw in India, on the streets, be it in my university campus, on the highway. And my consciousness really shifted that time, especially for my personal consumption, and for people who don't know, my parents know, but I never used to eat certain vegetables and curries because I didn't like the look of it and I didn't like the taste of it at all. And my first 2 months in India, I completely transformed. I was eating everything. So I hate bottle gourd, and I I was eating bottle gourd halwa, bottle gourd paratha, bottle gourd curry, everything. Raita, whatever it is, I was eating everything. So that really shifted all over, like not just food waste, it shifted towards my consumption related to water, energy, all the necessities, basic necessities. I started to really consciously make an effort to reduce as much as possible on an individual level. And then that resonated with my group of friends as well, because they were like, yeah, you finish your whole plate, like you don't leave even one single grain of rice. So yeah, that is something that really transformed and still inspires and motivates me, consumption on such a high level and even on an individual level is very important to focus on. So yeah.
That's actually quite interesting to learn how, something that can completely shift your mindset, just watching that there is so much waste out there, even that there is a need to work towards single-use plastic and actually reduce or actually stop the usage of plastics in general so that it doesn't pollute the marine life and doesn't affect the marine life, doesn't pollute the oceans. And you've seen that more in land in your society, that you have recognized the need where, okay, I have to start becoming more conscious of my desires and actually value everything that is offered, even food, different types of food. So starting to value nature, I think that's a great way to be more conscious. So only when we are more conscious can we then inspire other people. So I see both of you as those who have done that already and have shared that with people around you already. So I see that both of you have this pure desire to protect and heal our planet, and that is something that is not just inspiring, but it's something for all of us to take back and learn from. And I'd like to ask the both of you, feel positive that human beings can win over climate change and restore that balance in nature. Take just one person, or do we need collective efforts?
So people have recently started recognizing climate change, and trying to do something towards protecting the environment is not just the duty or responsibility of a selected number of people, but we, like all of us as global citizens, have some or the other responsibility that we have to repay towards the mother nature. So I feel like recently people have started recognizing that climate change is a global crisis and not just something that a particular nation or a particular society is facing. And people have started taking steps in their daily life. I've seen people change over the years. I've seen my friends who used to use single-use plastic water bottles every day to school change to bringing metal water bottles or reusable plastic water bottles over the past years. So that's something especially which has changed, and the attitudes of people are changing towards how we can conserve our mother nature in the small day-to-day choices that we make. And COVID also was one of the biggest gift, I think, towards mother nature in terms of pollution, because during COVID, due to lockdown and especially people living just within their homes and going out reduced to a huge by a huge number. So especially air pollution, wherein like pollution produced by smoke and carbon dioxide produced by vehicle emissions, that had reduced drastically during COVID, and even wastage had been reduced drastically during COVID. So even though COVID was a global crisis, it had really helped nature regain what it had lost over the past years. So I believe it is possible to overcome climate change and retain our Mother Earth for the future generation if people continue to take the efforts that I've started taking over the past years.
I really like that you mentioned about not just one person, but not just one nation. It has to be everybody has that responsibility towards Mother Nature, and we need to actually repay Mother Nature for all that it's offering us. What do you think about this, Ankita? Do you feel equally?
So, yeah, definitely. I completely agree with what Sainath mentioned as well, and especially about COVID, I think that time, everyone, it was very eye-opening, And from my understanding, after so many in-depth conversations with peers and listening to so many talks that have been held over the years, we actually have the power to heal nature, because nature in itself molds with the vibrations we give out. And, funny he mentioned about pollution, because pollution is what? You're actually giving out something that is not good for nature. And again, nature knows, and so it's molding that way. And when everyone's cars was inside their homes and they were all inside their homes, nature regained, and it got back to its positive, self and giving self and unconditional self. So again, that conscious effort at an individual level and as a community definitely has to be important, because efforts to restore that balance first starts with us, with me, not with us, with me. So that is important.
So you're saying begins within me when I realize I can actually do things that will help Mother Nature. So it's not just when something like COVID, a global crisis that hits, and then we realize, but it's like every day if I were to take conscious efforts and actually, not just me, but because we all have a responsibility, if we were to take collective efforts and, just join and cooperate with Mother Nature and be able to give back, when we realize that we have the power and we can do that, then we actually start to think in that direction and take the right decisions towards protecting Mother Nature. So I'm really happy to learn that it's where we have been able to recognize and been able to restore balance at one point. We can, and we can offer that hope and remain positive that that can be done in the future, where there will be a balance between us and nature. Again, I'd like to ask Sainath, are there any lessons that you've learned as a young environmentalist?
Yeah. So one of the lessons that I believe I've learned is, especially with the time now, future generations are the ones that need to be educated the most, because they're the ones who need to live in the world. I mean, our actions have led to the current situation that we are in right now. But it's not just our duty, but it's also the generations that are upcoming right now, and it's their responsibility as well to take small steps to be able to convert the world that they're going to be living in. So educating young minds is one of the best possible ways and the most efficient ways, according to me, in which we as humans can combat climate change and build a better world. So educating young minds is one of the main lessons that I've learned over the years wherein I've been an environmentalist. It's the small kids that even the KG children in my school, they're the most enthusiastic, the most eager to know about the small changes that they can take in their day-to-day lives. So even them coming and telling in front of me that I'm not using a straw today and I'm drinking directly from the bottle is a small change that they're taking. But then if you think about it, a straw every day is 365 straws a year. And if the same is done by just the KG students in my school, it's over 1,000. So it's 365,000 straws not used. So even a
Wow,
small change by a small student will make a big difference in the future.
I totally agree. And you've given us the analysis of we can start early and actually do a lot more throughout the year. And that's beautiful because just being able to see that that small change can bring about a domino effect and a rapid result in preventing all that plastic from ending up in landfills or the ocean. So that's a brilliant point that you made. So starting with young minds, that's the very good lessons. I believe that now that they have started to incorporate lessons on climate change and they have started to talk about it even in schools. I read about you being able, having prep talks and educating even in your school, right?
Yeah. Uh, Actually, one of the campaigns that I started within my school was the Pepsi campaign, PEPC. So it stands for paper, electronic waste, plastics, and cans. So that's wherein we had started, me and 4, 5 of my friends back in grade 5, it started this campaign wherein we placed boxes around the school and students on a day-to-day basis, whenever possible, they could put in the waste instead of putting it in the normal dustbin. They could put the paper waste that they don't require or like plastic bottles that they're not going to use anymore in that particular box so that we collect it and give it to an organization called Emirates Environmental Group, and they recycle the waste, and on the basis of the amount of waste collected they also give the opportunity to plant a tree. So every year, we've been able to plant almost 7 to 8 trees in Ras Al Khaimah. So these trees not only just help produce oxygen, they also help for bees around that area to build their own honeycomb. So it's really amazing that we're able to also recycle, but at the same time reproduce oxygen and help sustain the environment as well.
Yeah, I love that. That just being able to do, efforts in your school, in your surroundings can actually make such a big difference. And also, that raises more awareness because if we start young, we're actually instilling a habit that we will continue to perform as we grow older. And because you mentioned that young minds is where we start, as adults, you'll be a more responsible person, right? Yeah, I think this is something for all of us to take away that we start young. So start instilling these values of responsibility when children are very young. So I see Sainath started when he was in grade 4. If he can do it, I believe all of us have the responsibility and we too can make the effort to make those small changes and be able to make a difference. Now, I'd like to ask Ankita, have you had any similar lessons that you'd like to share with us?
I think, what Sainath mentioned is pretty much what I wanted to mention as well, that even the small changes make a huge difference. And generations after generations, each one has a different way of dealing with waste in their home. Like if you see, our parents' generation or even before that, they save everything. Like each and every plastic bottle is still at home. So similarly, I still have glass bottles that my mom packed safely in a trunk for storing lentils in the pantry that she accumulated 28 years back. So I still have those in my pantry. So it's things like that. It's all about identifying and separating your needs, desires, and wants. Like everyone wants to do more, everyone wants to achieve a lot. But where's the systematic effort to actually achieve? We all have the knowledge, we all have the awareness, but what about the effort? Effort is what is most important here. Either it is individual or collective. So as Sainath mentioned, that the collective effort is important, especially young minds. And I agree, kids these days, I've seen them, they're easily moldable. So whatever you teach them, they will adapt to that and carry it forward for many, many years. And once they reach teenage, it's hard to change. So kids' fresh mind is where, parents can really mold to their thinking and their, change capabilities. So yeah.
Right. And I also like that, people around you support you in your endeavors. Like Sainath mentioned about the Emirates Environmental Group supporting with the recycling process. And of course, the school supporting that initiative. That itself is something where you are getting that right cooperation, you are getting the right support, and it allows you to be more and be able to make more efforts. And you feel encouraged more so ever. Yeah. So it's all about having the environment around you which is also encouraging. So it's not just because somebody is young, sort of not allowing them to make that change, but just being open to that idea that even young people can bring about big changes. And I totally agree with both of you. And let's see what we have. Again, I'd like to ask Sainath, when you are on this significant road of doing greater good for the planet, you may have faced certain roadblocks along the way. And how is it that you find yourself overcoming those challenges? And whom do you turn to for support? So when we have a good environment and we have supportive environment, it's all good. But when we are faced with roadblocks, how do you deal with that? And who do you turn to for support?
So some of the roadblocks that I believe back when I originally started was people weren't as conscious about what they're using on a daily basis or how it's going to affect the environment. They weren't really as much keen as they are today towards environmental crisis and global issues relating to the environment. So back then, some people that even though they used to get we used to raise awareness, they used to be ignorant of whether what me just stopping using one straw or one bottle a day, how is it gonna help? Like when me telling them the numbers that almost 8 million tons of plastic waste is dumped into the ocean every year, they'll be like me not using a straw or me using a straw a day. It doesn't make a difference. But then, even if everyone in the world stop using one straw a day, over a year, we can stop almost 300 million tons of plastic waste from being deposited into the ocean. So even not using a straw a day is going to make a big difference. Like carrying your own cutlery while going out and not taking the plastic fork and knife that you get at restaurants, or carrying your own water bottle so that you don't have to buy plastic water bottles outside, or like even carrying a metal straw instead of the paper or plastic straws that you get is going to make a big difference because you are reducing some percentage of the waste that is being produced. So even if people are ignorant, the simple way is they learn as time goes. So you should trust the process. It's not just that if one person says no, I'm not going to follow it, it's going to make you, it shouldn't demotivate you as a person. You should think of the greater good that you're doing. Even if one person says no, you should think about the positive side wherein 10 people are still listening to what you're actually telling and they are trying their best. So those 10 people in future will tell 10 more people. So it's going to keep multiplying, and sooner or later, everyone is going to know that even a small change that they make is going to make a big difference.
That's brilliant, actually. We need to make consistent efforts. And even though there may be roadblocks or there may be ways where people may not accept and, try to not do the things that they are supposed to do, still being able to continue making efforts is something which you yourself have to take the initiative and continue doing while being persistent because you believe in the cause and you can make a bigger difference. So, that's actually quite nice. What about when you are faced with challenges? Do you feel like you need somebody to turn to, and do you need the support of certain people?
Yeah, my parents, my school peers, my friends, they've always been by my side. Even at the first, when I'd asked my friends if they'd like to be part of the Pepsi campaign, which hadn't even started back then, they were eager and they were enthusiastic and they were like, it's something that we can do. And we as friends, we were able to raise awareness in almost every class in our school back then. And almost in 1 year, we were able to collect almost 3,500 kgs of paper just for recycling. So that was one of the biggest turning points back then. And we were able to plant trees in Ras Al Khaimah for the first time with the Emirates Environmental Group. So that small steps like this, wherein people are enthusiastic about something that you're telling them about, and they are eager to help you and stay by your side, is something that gives a little bit more motivation and confidence in things that you're doing. So my friends, my school leadership team, my teachers, my parents, they were all by my side in almost every step that I've taken in my life. So them being around was really helpful.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So it's, of course, the children who want to do a lot of different things and they want to be able to help the environment. It is also the unconditional support of their peers and, most importantly, their elders. Unless the elders pave the way for children, I think that it's not that easy for children to be able to move forward with that confidence and enthusiasm. So I love that having the right kind of environment also with support that the children need allows them to do more and allows us to be able to learn from them. So I'd like to again ask the same question to Ankita. How do you find your way around challenges and whom do you seek support from?
Yeah, thank you, Deepti. Yes, of course, challenges do come. It is what make us resilient and, the ability to face every difficult situation we come across really magnifies when you start experiencing more and more challenges. And I feel like the more challenges you experience, the more certain you can be that you're on the right path. If you don't face challenges and your path is clear, it's like, oh, am I on the right path really? Like, because challenges are inevitable. And for me, the challenges that I face as a youth environmentalist is, again, peers, dismissing our efforts or discouraging it. And this I see common in children as well, someone is making the effort and someone just, or discourages like, oh, what are you doing, man? Like, let's go play or do something else. But when someone is taking the conscious effort, I feel like you need to have a sort of empathetic eye in these situations, so that you try and understand the other's perspective, and just not let it get to you too much. So this is where meditation really helped my understanding and clarity in terms of doing in-depth research on topics that maybe I'm not aware of, or maybe something that I'm not quite clear on. So something about the past, present, and future. This is my concept of research. I go look back into the past. What was the past like? What is the present like? And what can the future be like? So this is something that I've acquired. And I think after meditation, I've seen the power of silence, like in physical ways, like being a wallflower in conversations, just listening. So you get an insight of everyone. You get an insight of everyone's behavior, everyone's consciousness, everyone's thought process, really, when you take the time to listen in silence and not just speak. So these subtle understandings are something that have helped me in facing those challenges. And yeah, that is all I would like to say. And again, the One Change initiative that we had started here in the organization really helped. We have like regular students of around 150, and all of them were taking that effort, that, okay, for this week, we'll reduce our tissue consumption by 1, or for this week, we'll reduce our shower time by 2 minutes, or something like that. These small One Change initiatives that we had started really took off well. So I think that is also a benefit on a community level.
I liked when you started off with, unless you are faced with challenges, you cannot say that you are on the right path. So which actually puts things into perspective. When you do find roadblocks, you feel like, okay, maybe it's not the right thing for me, and you can come up with all kinds of excuses. But because you have roadblocks, there is something that you need to learn from it, and because that comes your way, it is trying to make you more mature, right?
Yes,
And make
more resilient.
responsible person, and allow you to discover different solutions and be more creative that way. You also mentioned meditation, and I'm keen to learn how meditation has helped you on your journey. You mentioned silence, being able to understand people better, but how has that helped you on your journey?
See, once I started meditating, I really got in touch with myself first, and I understood my, impressions, my personality much, much better. And there was a huge transformation. If you see me back when I was still an undergrad, I was super sensitive about everything anyone used to tell me, be it my parents, be it my friends, my professors. And once I started meditating regularly, I saw a completely different shift in my reaction to certain situations, certain people. And what helps really is you take a minute, when you meditate, when you're a constant meditator, you take a minute to think back that, oh, okay, what am I going to say in this situation? And how do I, put it forward in this situation? So that ability to think before you act is something that I've learned through constant, conscious effort in meditation. And yeah, it is a law of nature that we have to transform as beings, as entities, as a community. And that is what collective change is about, like the One Change initiative. It is transformation. All of us are here, but we were not the same person 5 years back. We were not the same person 10 years back. So transformation it has to happen. So that's what nature can also transform.
Yeah, so because we need to transform, we need to continue learning and evolving as a person. And that's where we learn. And that's where we are able to also utilize all these values that you mentioned about, from meditation, being able to realize yourself, and also being able to take a responsive action, not just reaction, but being more responsive allows you to actually, just be detached for a moment, and then be able to have a more collective response, rather than just like anybody else have as has an impulsive reaction. You've actually now mentioned that just being able to think before we speak or we do something that allows you to do the right thing at the right time, right?
Yes.
So if we may ask you, because now I'm tempted to ask you to do a guided meditation for us when we reach towards the end of the session. Is that okay?
Yes, for sure.
So now over to you, Sainath. You've had an interaction with the COP28 UAE President Dr. Sultan Al Jaber at the at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week this year, showcasing your innovation and its impact. How important is creativity for you, and how do you enhance them as a student?
So creativity is something that leads to innovation. It's what leads to change, and it's what leads to you thinking in others' perspectives outside the box. So you were just thinking, for example, if we take the situation of a single-use plastic, you thinking me not using is enough is not is not creativity. Creativity is when you think, how does me just stop using it? How does it affect the environment? What will happen? What will be the better option that I can take as a person, wherein I raise awareness about single-use plastic pollution at the same time try to change myself during the process. So creativity is something that's inbuilt. It's something that as a 21st century learner, everyone should possess. To be able to survive, everyone needs to have some or the other way that they think outside the box of. So my creativity was how to link robotics with preserving the environment, and me being able to produce the different robots with linking them with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and to be able to make a small difference was motivation for me, and that's how I think I possess creativity. And even now in schools, we had started using high performance learning. So that's something wherein we inculcate different values of creativity, critical thinking, analyzing in students from almost from KG till grade 12. So
Wow.
we started learning and using different ways of doing the same thing. Like in maths, if you used to learn addition just by writing it in the notebook, now they learn addition with throwing a ball around the class wherein different numbers are written in the ball and each person adds the two balls that they get randomly. So that's something like changes like this, making learning a much more creative and a much more exciting process for the children especially is going to boost their creativity. So when in future by chance if they become teachers or educators, they will use their creativity to be able to produce things that they never thought of before. So creativity is something that is going to help not just in the learning process that I've taken an example of, even as an environmentalist, thinking of different ways that you can use awareness, like thinking of ways that will make people listen to you and thinking of ways that will make people follow the things that you're telling is creativity. So I think creativity is there in almost every field, no matter what field you're going to choose as a career path. So creativity is something that's going to help no matter what.
Okay, that's great. In fact, you're just talking about how you mentioned about the example of addition is something a completely new concept, and to be able to use creativity in that aspect, and then you're able to utilize that in so many different areas is a very good starting point to introduce that in the education system. And I'm so glad that youth and students nowadays are exposed to that kind of learning as well. Ankita, it's your turn. I'd like to know how important, because I've seen you wear so many different hats and I've seen you contribute to ELCOI UAE 2020, and you've also done so much of designing work. And with all your contributions towards workshops for children and the youth, how do you enhance your creativity in life?
So, they say creativity is subjective, but to be very honest, everyone has creativity in them, be it from a homemaker to, maybe a person who's on the streets, maybe just doing whatever they feel like. It's an open expression, really, creativity. And that is what I see it as, because for me, creativity is an open expression. You are free to express yourself, be it through spoken word poetry, be it through dance, be it through, a skit, be it through anything. And it could be something small like hanging a curtain rod up in your room with just one nail, or something big like what Sainath has done, building a robot to clean the ocean. So it is definitely vital for individuals to grow and towards an effort towards a better world. And for me, determination and creativity go hand in hand. They're like sugar and milk. So all of us have to be motivated, to have that creativity in us. So that determination that, no, I can do this. Because some people say, oh, I'm not creative enough. No, that's actually wrong. You are creative. Everyone has a creative brain. You just have to tap into it. And like Sainath mentioned, it is commendable that they're doing, so much of effort in school. Critical thinking is so important in today's day-to-day life as a professional, as an individual. It is very, very important. So it's really good that they're taking all those efforts for school kids right now. And I would like to share, though, that there's a group of mothers in Greens area in Dubai. They all motivate each other for environmental efforts. And, it's like one of them specializes in home composting. One of them specializes in turning puja waste, like the flowers, into a strong bioenzyme for floor cleaning. And one of them makes things out of cloth waste, like pencil cases or homemade jewelry. So starting something small in creativity is also something that everyone can do. And yeah, that's all I would like to say.
How your efforts may become bigger in the future, you never know, but you have to start somewhere. You have to allow that creativity of expression to come about and not let anything put you down, not let anything stop you. So you have to like make that first step, and you will see that a lot of people will join you, and you will see that you do get the support that you need, and there will be like-minded people that would also come forward the moment you start doing something like that. That's where you mentioned how there is a group of mothers. So I feel that once you are having that energy, you find the right people, you find your tribe that way. So that's amazing example that you shared. I want to also understand, again, I'll move to Sainath first. Sainath, as a student and a young scientist, I would like to say, what is the attitude that young environmentalists should keep in mind to succeed in both studies as well as in their mission?
So, as an environmentalist myself, studies is not like what do you say? Studies and your passion towards environment is something that goes hand in hand. So for me, especially when my passion for robotics and coding had increased, my ability to think outside the box not just helped me in making robots, but also in thinking of different ways that I can do problems or questions posed to me in my academics as well. So I believe having a positive attitude and thinking of how to interlink between things that you learn from various sources is something that all students should possess. Like you learning from the sport you play, never to give up and try till the last minute is something that you should also, I believe, put in the effort during the exam time as well. Like never to give up and try your best till the last minute. So things like this, wherein a quote or like a thing that you remember from someone or you heard from somewhere is something that you can apply or put in place or put in picture in different situations. So having an attitude of thinking what can be done and what is the best or optimal way that you can do it in that particular situation, and having an attitude of what do you say, like thinking out of the box, but at the same time not diverting from the objective that you're working towards is something that I believe everyone should possess. And as students nowadays, it's not something that is new to them. Then we are taught in school nowadays itself to link between things wherein we link maths and SST, or like wherein we link science and arts. So it's something that we're taught in school, but then to be able to put it in picture in real life as well is something that I believe everyone should possess.
Okay, that's great. In fact, just knowing that there are some values we need, we also want to be able to utilize the skills that we have, the education, everything sort of fits together. And because you are now exposed to so much of education and so much of variety of knowledge, I believe that we can enhance our ability to tap into that and actually link things like you said. So I quite like that. There's always a reason why you have been exposed to certain kind of knowledge, and for you to now be able to use that is something where you will use your creativity. Now over to you, Ankita. As a working professional and an environmentalist, what attitude do you believe other environmentalists should keep in mind to succeed at work? Because now you're working, so at work as well as to be able to fulfill their mission towards environment or anything that has to do with greater good.
I think building a thick skin, being more resilient, like don't fall back just because someone has discouraged you or someone has given you, very critique. I mean, it's a very sort of very critical critique, like don't discourage yourself. Be more resilient, bounce back, and just keep moving forward. Your efforts and the accurate knowledge that you possess can definitely make the impossible possible, I believe. But it's just effort and the accurate knowledge. No need to focus on anything else. So I think resilience is something that the youth really need to develop.
I think now with the changing environment, with so much of fluctuations that are happening in the world, you see one thing's going right today, another thing then starts to go wrong the next day. You need to be resilient. You need to have that strength within you, that wisdom within you to be able to carry on and continue making efforts. So, as we are nearing now to the end of today's episode, my last question to both of you is can you share a message for the youth?
uh, the biggest message that I've followed until now is no matter how big the initiative that you're taking is, maybe the smallest and the tiniest step that you're taking, it is going to make a big difference in the future.
Amazing. Thank you for that. What about you, Ankita?
My message is take the leap, just start. Don't think too much, just do it one step at a time and build a community. And no feat is too small. Just take the effort and take the responsibility.
Right, that's brilliant. I'd like for you to now also lead us into a guided meditation. Just a brief one would do, and then we'll move on to the closure.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much, Deepti. So I would like everyone to sit back and relax. Relax your body, relax your mind. Close your eyes and follow my voice. I visualize myself as a being of light. This intense energy of positivity, hope, peace, harmony, resilience. I see the earth from a far off distance. It's like a tiny particle, but I can feel the love, the unconditional life, and the support that she gives us all. The earth is my home, my physical home. It's a beautiful home with oceans, beaches, massive mountains, valleys, trees, flowers, plants, different colors, different fragrances. These immense landscapes, these oceans, they're so abundant, so vast. Through the eye of my imagination, I sit peacefully in front of my favorite landscape. It could be an ocean, it could be mountain top, and I feel the light of the sun, the softness, the strength, the beauty of earth. We're so fortunate to have such a precious and unconditional, merciful home. I experience the luck of this home, my Mother Earth. I feel the responsibility of love, the unconditional love. I feel the honor of being able to fulfill this responsibility of my home, this unconditional harmony and love. This is my home, my Mother Earth. I gently come back to the awareness of the room you're sitting in. I open my eyes, gently breathe in and breathe out, remaining aware in these feelings of my Mother Earth, my home, my responsibility, my unconditional love. We come together, you, me, and I, as one, for this wonderful and beautiful home. Shanti.
Beautiful experience of meditation. Sainath, how was it?
It's one of the first time that I've done something like this.
That's amazing. And I think just being able to connect with nature brought me so much of peace and harmony within that. I was resonating with gratitude and love, like she said, and I felt so calm inside. So thank you for that beautiful journey you took us into. I'd like to now extend my deepest gratitude for your persistent and tireless efforts, for not letting age undermine your creativity, for not letting how hard you sometimes have to work prevent you from achieving your mission, and for paving way for many more youth to follow suit. It has been an honor to have you both share your remarkable journey with us. We wish you all the success, and may all your creative efforts, all your endeavors bear fruit. So, for all the youth out there, if you've ever felt anxious or worried about your future, just be aware that there are remarkable people who are making such consistent efforts to create a better future, to create more hope and more optimism for all of us. Wouldn't it be wonderful to collectively work towards that as a common goal? With that, I'd like to conclude for our episode for today. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be announcing our next episode soon, so stay tuned to our social media handles as mentioned in the description box. Thank you.